Good morning, almost afternoon. It's been a late day, so I ran an ad for everybody getting to the school community. I had 315 people hit me up. 315. So I've got like scheduled calls like a maniac trying to fit it in between. A lot of people are just worried about jumping into a community. Landscapers kind of think it's a little cutthroat and things like that. It's not. We have to work together. There's so much abundance in landscaping. If you join this community, you need to understand that we're all friends. We all have to work together. We should be sharing the work with each other for the jobs that we don't want to do, that somebody else does want to do, and we should focus on our specialties so that we can raise our prices, charge what we are worth, and work together to make it awesome. So I'm driving right now, heading to a meeting, so don't judge me on this. I'll try to be as safe as possible, so I might not be staring at the phone. But I had calls this morning, and it went really, really well. I wanted to share some knowledge with everybody. We had a conversation about upselling. And landscaper says, how do I upsell? How do I make money? I'm mowing lawns right now, and I don't know what else to sell. And I did that. So I know exactly what to do here. And I'm going to give you two strategies that work really, really well. The first thing you need to do, though, is you got to understand you got to be able to estimate mowing over the phone, or if somebody messages you online, you got to be able to do it. And here's how you do it. It's simple math. So you just go onto Google, you measure the property, only the lawn areas, and you figure out what the square footage is. Then you multiply the square footage times your rate with a minimum. Here's mine. My minimum is $45 if the property is within a half a mile of another property I already have, meaning the route's going to be fairly tight. If the property is not within a half a mile, then the minimum is $55. And then I take the square footage and I multiply it times 0.005. That's the number, 0.005. And then that's the price. So if it's a small little yard, minimum's 45 or 55, depending on where it is. If it's a bigger yard, it's 0.005, and I just go from there. Okay? Really, really, really simple. So, how do I upsell from mowing? Well, if you price it over the phone or online, then what you do is you tell the customer, the first time I mow the property, I'm going to evaluate how long it took me, and if I need to adjust the price after the first mow, I will. All right. Now you're taking into account, hills and lots of trimming and all that stuff. So, you want the customer to tell you that stuff, but if they don't, you're just going to say, I'm going to do the first one for this price. And if I have to adjust it, I will. And then what you do is you go out to the property and you mow the lawn and measure everything. You measure the beds. You count how many trees are in the yard, ornamental trees. You look at what the amount of mulch is. You look at how much trimming there is, and you measure literally everything in person. The way you do that is you go to Home Depot, you buy a measuring wheel. You can get a measuring wheel for $30 to $50, depending on how good you want. You can order them on Amazon for like stupid cheap. Don't get the little tiny wheel. Don't get the wheel that's like this big. Get the wheel that's big, the one that's like a 10, 11, 12-inch wheel. So much more accurate, so much easier to use, and you can go over beds and things like that. But that's going to measure how much linear feet there is. And then all I do is after the first mow, I go and I do all the properties. I write everything down. And then I go home. I pop it into an Excel. And I have an Excel sheet that has all of the services that I offer. So doing mulch, mosquito flea and tick, fertilizer, ornamental tree trimming, bush trimming, edging of the beds, fall cleanup, spring cleanup, plowing, got to measure the driveway, right? All of those things. I figure out where my dumping area is going to be. Is there dumping on the property? Am I going to have to take the stuff away, right? I do all of that stuff. I take a picture of the dump area too, by the way. And then I mow the lawn, I thank the customer, I shake their hand, and I leave. Then I go home, I put it into my Excel, and literally that night or the next morning, I shoot an email out to that customer and say, hey, we did the mowing today and I measured all the stuff. I noticed this, and this. I recommend you get, and I would focus on mosquito flea and tick and fertilizer at first. That's what I'd recommend right away. Unless there was like something crazy, an ornamental trees like overflowing or something like that, right? And I would send them the recommendation and the pricing sheet with everything on it. And then I would say to them, and this is where Landscape Easy comes into play, I would say I'd recommend the mosquito flea and tick and the fertilizing. This is what it's going to cost. This is how often we come, whatever you think is right. Mosquito flea and tick, some people want every single time you mow, right? Which is crazy. If you're doing weekly and you do mosquito flea and tick every time, that's great, right? Think about it. You might have a $65 mow. You're doing mosquito flea and tick for another, $50 to $150, depending on like how big the property is. Some people get that every week. The really wealthy people, they'll pay every single week for that stuff because they don't want mosquitoes when they're chilling in their backyard, swimming in their monster pool. They don't want to be dealing with that. Think about it. Super easy. And mosquito flea and tick, you don't need a license if you do organic. I just do cedar oil. Super easy, but it only works for a week or two. If you do the actual pesticide version, which you should get the license, then you can do fertilizer and mosquito flea and tick, and you're going to kick some serious butt, right? So I do that, and then I send them an email with all the other stuff, and then I say, hey, if you want any of these things, mulching, whatever, just go into Landscape Easy and request it, and you already know the price, so request it. I'll send you over the estimate based on the price I already have. These prices are good to the end of the year, and then we'll get it scheduled, and then that's it. And you'll be super surprised at how many people buy that. Like, everybody will buy mulching in the beginning of the season. Everybody will sign up for fall cleanups. Everybody will do spring cleanups. It's crazy how many people will buy. You will have a massive, super high percentage, and your revenue will drastically jump overnight. That's how you do it, right? Now, this is a course I'll put together for everybody so you can go a little deeper into it. I'll break down and I'll send you all that stuff. If you're interested in this, let me know. But that's it. That's my message for today.